In 2025, Nike has decided to realign their daily training models into 3 distinct categories. You have your Nike Structure for supportive cushioning, the Nike Vomero for max cushioning, and the Nike Pegasus for responsive cushioning. But which daily training icon model is best for you, the Vomero 18 or the Pegasus 41? Let's break it down. What's up, everybody? I'm Eric McIntyre, aka Rad Dad Bod. You're watching Rad Dad Bod TV, where we review running shoes. Today we're going to be doing just a specs breakdown, basically, of the Vomero 18 versus the Pegasus 41. And if it's your first time watching one of my videos, you may notice some timestamps below. Feel free to jump around to the various parts of the video, but if you do so, I would sure appreciate if you come back and watch the full thing when you get a second, as I put a lot of time and effort into these videos. And if you've been watching for a while and you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please do so now and turn on notifications so you get notified every time I drop a new video. Now, to kick us off, just some quick disclaimers. I was provided both of these shoes for free directly from Nike for the purpose of review. Whenever I'm provided shoes for review, I am not paid, nor am I given talk tracks, nor am I asked to include the shoes in any specific videos or comparisons. No one watches my videos beforehand, and all thoughts are entirely my own. With that out of the way, let's talk about the intended use of these two shoes. Now, like I said in the introduction, Nike has redesigned their daily training lineups. So instead of having like 5 different shoes like they've had in the past, you're still gonna have a lot of shoes, but they're all gonna follow similar naming conventions based off how their midsoles are supposed to interact with you. The Pegasus line, so the Pegasus 41, is going to be more of your responsive cushioning, and the Vomero line is going to be more of your max cushioning. As such, that's how you should kind of look at these two shoes. So the intended use is still going to be daily usage, daily miles, easy runs, steady runs, kind of do it all, decent at everything but not great at anything, daily training. But it will come down to your cushion preference. And really, I could probably just cut the video here and that would be the entire description, but we'll go a little bit more in depth into the specs. But the Vomero 18 is going to be for people who like a little bit more max cushion, versus the Pegasus is for people who want a slightly lighter, but not fully lightweight, but something that's going to be a little bit more responsive, maybe a little bit more ground feel. Now, looking at the price, the Pegasus 41 comes in at $140, and the Vomero comes in at actually a surprising $150, which for a max cushion daily trainer is actually on the lower end. Really, nowadays you could find max cushion trainers for anywhere from, you know, 160 up to like 180. So with the Pegasus line, with the Plus and the Premium, Nike did go a little bit pricier, but with the max cushion daily trainer Vomero 18, they actually chose to go a little bit more affordable. Now, moving to the specs, the Nike Pegasus 41 comes in at 10 ounces or 283 grams, and the Vomero comes in at 10.5 ounces and 298 grams. So the Vomero is heavier, and feeling it here in hand, it is a decent amount heavier, but 0.5 ounces between kind of a standard daily and a max cushion daily is really not that much in the grand scheme. Of course, it'll come down to your size as well. Now, from a stack perspective, the Pegasus comes in at 37 in the heel, 27 in the forefoot for a 10mm heel-to-toe drop, versus the Vomero comes in at a whopping 44 in the heel, 34 in the forefoot for a 10mm heel-to-toe drop. So 34 in the forefoot is as high as a lot of like more cushion shoes. Maybe not nowadays, but traditionally like 34 would be on the higher cushion end for the heel even. So very, very high stack. I mean, and you can see it when you're looking at that shoe. Now, from a fit perspective, both of them fit true to size lengthwise. I would say that the Vomero has a little bit roomier of a toe box for a Nike, but both of them run on the narrower overall side of standard. So not full narrow, but also I wouldn't say super wide foot friendly. Moving to the upper, the Pegasus has engineered mesh plus some fly wire cables there in that kind of midfoot area, and then the Vomero has just a very plushy engineered mesh overall. Now, the tongue for the Vomero 18 is very, very cushioned, and the shoe overall is very, very plush in the upper as well, and so you're going to get a lot of cushion. And even though that is an engineered mesh, I'm gonna bet that this shoe is very, very warm, versus the Pegasus 41. You do have kind of a mid-weight tongue and you have some decent cushion there in the heel, but all in all, I find that this mesh is fairly breathable. You also have slightly different takes there on the lacing system with kind of those loops versus those cable lacing, which to me, I don't love either lacing convention, if I'm being honest, but I think I prefer what's on the Vomero. Moving to the midsoles, the Pegasus has a React X midsole throughout the entirety of the shoe, and then a Zoom Air Pod there in the forefoot. On the Vomero, you actually have a Zoom X upper half. So actually this layer alone, I know it says Zoom X there on the heel, that's actually React X. So this half up here is Zoom X, and then everything below is going to be React X, which is that same foam in the Nike Pegasus. Now, for the most part, the Vomero has as much React X as the Pegasus, all in all. And then on top of that, you have that Zoom X layer on top. So what's here is you're going to have that soft yet supportive foam underneath, and then a more responsive, ZoomX is typically actually a racing foam, but you can tune it a little bit differently for daily training. So you do have a more responsive foam up top, but then you have a soft yet supportive foam underneath to give it a little bit more structure. So really, with the weight of the shoe, this is going to be probably a stable shoe, but most likely going to be a little bit more of a easy day and long run shoe, depending on the person. It may be even a little too heavy for long runs, versus the Pegasus 41 is going to be a lot more versatile for daily training. You could even do pickups and maybe some short intervals in the shoe, and you're going to get a lot more ground feel. If you watch my review of the Pegasus 41 or my breakdown of the 3 models, the Pegasus line entirely, then you'll know that I found that the Pegasus 41 has a lot of ground feel there in the forefoot. Moving to the traction, the Pegasus 41 has that blown rubber outsole, which to me did really, really well on a variety of surfaces, even when there was rain or some light moisture. And it's a solid outsole overall, like no complaints on the outsole of the Pegasus 41. With the Vomero 18, you have that high abrasion rubber, and they have what they call podular traction. Basically, what they're doing here is it's split up and it's not necessarily a continuous outsole there, and that's just going to help with some of that flex. Sometimes in these max cushion shoes, when you have like these huge chunks of foam and then you put like a full coverage outsole like you see there on the Pegasus 41, then they become really, really rigid, and the outsoles can oftentimes make your shoes actually feel more firm and more rigid, almost acting like a plate. But those pods or those modules actually allow for a lot more flex there in the forefoot. So that's going to assist a little bit. And then you do have kind of the waffle pattern on the outside, which in my experience, the waffle pattern tends to do pretty good from a traction standpoint. Now, as far as my pick, really this is just a specs breakdown today with some light additional details there. Really just wanted to give a quick explanation of what each shoe might be used for. So if you were looking up daily trainers on Nike.com or going into one of their stores, you could make a split decision on, okay, well, which one should be best for me based off of their intended use. But I have yet to put miles on the Vomero 18, so I'm not going to get into the details of how this one feels, obviously, nor am I going to make a pick just yet. You'll have to wait for my full review of the Vomero 18, which will likely come realistically in like a month and a half once I've been able to put, 40 plus miles on the shoe as a whole. So just some final thoughts. Again, when Nike originally did the naming change, I wasn't a huge fan of the idea, but having seen it kind of in action and having seen previews of the Vomero Plus and Premium, I feel like it makes a little bit more sense kind of what they're doing now. And I am excited to see the updates coming to the, what would have been the Invincible, as well as the new model being the Vomero Premium. All in all, Nike is putting a lot of time and effort into revamping their daily training models, and so far, I have been pretty impressed with every single daily training model of theirs that has come out in the last, we'll call it year plus at this point. And so I'm pretty high on the direction of running. I'm excited to be able to test out some of their new racing models coming out this year as well. And the alphaflys probably getting an update, I would imagine, next year, are always a crowd favorite as well. So I know a lot of people have been critical of Nike running over the last year and a half, but I do think that there's a lot of good things happening over there, and I'm excited to see what comes next. So if you stuck around this far, I sure appreciate you. Please take a second, let me know in the comments what you enjoyed, or if there's any other comparisons that you'd like to see from me. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you get notified every time I drop a new video or comparison. And with that, we'll end with a question, which is your preferred daily training option, the Vomero or the Pegasus? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks, everybody.